I want to welcome you. We are now live, and as we do weekly, we have these special sessions where these sessions are designed to serve you. That's why we're here at Dynamic Destinies to serve you. So it is almost at the top of the hour. I just logged on a few seconds before the top of the hour to welcome you, to let you know that we are about to begin. And we're going to start right now. The clock has just struck 12 o'clock noon here on the East Coast. I am delighted to have you here for this session today. Now, we're going to be talking about you, and we're going to talk about how you can get better results in your life. And, if you're here, if you've chosen to tune in right now, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you or that you need to fix something. But as it is with all human beings, there is a natural desire within all of us for more, to attract more, to have more, to accomplish more. And I want to help you do just that. I want to help you live your dream life. And of course, I'm blessed to do it with a number of other individuals. So, with me today, we have a few of my team members that are here. And yes, I'm going to walk through how to effectively study, why to study, what that can do for you. And then I'm going to open up for questions. All right, sound good? Well, since this particular session is about how to effectively study, here's what I suggest that you do right now. Have a pen, have some paper, and be ready to take notes. You are being invited right now to study. You see, I've been put on this planet to help other people succeed. I have been exceeding the goals that I've set for myself, succeeding in every area of my life for many years. I'm not saying that to brag. What I'm saying to you is that for 43 plus years, 43 and a half years, I have been deep in the study of personal development, which means that I've not only read the books, but I've devoured the books and the programs and the courses and also implemented what I've been studying. So studying isn't enough. You absolutely must seek to have an understanding of the materials and, of course, to apply. Now, can you study just by picking up a book and reading a book and gathering information that way? Yes, of course. But as we identified this particular session, what we're here to help you do is effectively study. So while you're listening to what I'm suggesting here today, here's what I suggest that you do. We're going to make this session 3 parts. 1, listen to what I'm sharing with you and be ready to take notes. 2, if you don't understand something, if you have a question in your mind, ask the question, because we're here to also do Q&A. And 3, apply what I am suggesting. This is where the difference occurs. This is the reason why my results changed in my life, why I turned around my life, and why I've created the success and continue to create the success in my life. So if you want better results, if you have a desire to manifest anything, no matter whether you know how to do it or not, and I suggest that you set a goal so big and so exhilarating that you won't know how to do it, then listen up, because I'm about to give you some really great guidance that absolutely changed my life. So studying involves choosing the materials that are going to positively impact you. Now, how do you know what materials are going to positively impact you? Well, I believe that's very easy. It's easy to understand. Why? Because you simply look at who is being the guide, whether it's in a written format, such as a physical book, or whether the format that you're using to study is a video that's online, or perhaps some training that's online, or whether you're actually going to a live event, or whether you've hired a private mentor, and that's going to be the person that's going to guide you. Those are all effective means or resources for studying. And so you want to choose to study with people who, by their results, they absolutely know what they're talking about. And quite simply, I think about a number of years ago when I heard this statement that you don't go to an overweight person to find out how to get slim. You don't go to an out of fit person to find out how to get fit. You don't go to someone who's broke to find out how to get rich. You don't go to someone who's not doing well in their life, also known as a failure, to find out how to be successful, right? So when you're choosing what you're going to study, you want to study from the people that know what they're talking about by their results. Now, I'm an author of 20 books, and I have personally earned millions of dollars, and I've generated millions of dollars in profitable revenue in my business. So as a result, I love helping entrepreneurs. I love helping coaches. I love helping authors to help them create success in their life, because many authors, many coaches, many entrepreneurs simply leave money on the table. And therefore, we're a source for anyone that's looking to do that. Now, if you're wondering which of our programs would be the best fit for you, you can simply book a call with one of our advisors. And they would be happy to get on a call and discuss what your objectives are and help you and steer you in the right direction to find out what's the right fit for you. So we'll put the link on here in the chat box on all these platforms so that you can book an appointment. It's called the Discovery Call. It's totally free. And in order to access the link to book your Discovery Call, you can simply go to PeggyMcColl.com, and you'll see the first section on my website. It says Discover Now. Just go right there. It puts you through a few questions that you can quickly answer, questions about yourself, helping us determine a little bit more about you, and then you can book a call. All right. So there's a suggestion for you right there. So when you're choosing what you're studying, keep in mind you want to study people that know how to get the results, and you know that by their results. All right. If you see someone who's teaching you, like we have a program called Manifest Your Dream Home. I have manifested multiple dream homes over the years, many dream homes over the years. So I know what I'm talking about because I've done it many, many times. I have a program called the Money Marathon. And as I said a moment ago, I've turned my financial life around from being completely overwhelmed in debt to being financially free and to be earning, significant money, and to now call myself a millionaire. And so there's an example of that. All right. So when you're studying, here's what I also suggest: make it a daily practice. Do you realize that the ones that are getting the best results in this world study every single day? Every day. Every day. Now, you can choose what duration you're going to study for. I was chatting with Annie, who's on my team, the lovely Annie, and we were talking about a number of different things and how we're serving our destiny coaches. And I was saying to her, I was sharing with her something that I had discovered this morning, and it was during my study time. And I got up this morning around 5 a.m. And my first appointment was at 8 a.m. And then I had a 9 o'clock appointment, a 9:30 appointment. And so I was on appointments, several appointments up until right now. But in between, I was studying. So what you can do, and what I suggest that you do, is dedicate some time every day for your study time. And I study many hours a day. I know that's unusual, but I love it. And I love it because it helps me serve you better. It deepens my understanding, even though I have been studying these materials for 43 years, even though I do implement it, even though I have created amazing results. I know how important and how valuable it is for you to study every single day. And speaking of studying every single day, we have a program called Club Achieve. And Club Achieve is a study program. So go to clubachieve.com and get yourself registered, and you can study with me every day. And, every day, almost every day, I get an email from one of our members of Club Achieve sharing with the positive impact that the daily study has had on their lives, how it's expanded their awareness, how it's given them a depth of understanding, how they'll hear something that they feel that was just perfectly aligned for them in that moment. And you know what? All you need is just one idea or one epiphany, and it can, boom, transform your life in very, very positive ways. So study daily is absolutely a high recommendation. Now, when you're studying, here's what I suggest. Now, I'm going to hold up this book, Savvy Wisdom, which is my 19th book. and my 20th book. So this is book number 19. This is book number 20. This is Savvy Wisdom, the first one, the original Savvy Wisdom, and this is the sequel called Savvy Wisdom 2. Now, these books are unique from the other books that I've written. And how they're unique is they're written in a fiction style. So they're written kind of like a story, but it's a story based on my life and meeting the wonderful Bob Proctor, who is affectionately called Savvy. SAVY stands for a name, Stephen Alexander Vaughn. And so these books could be studied as well. As a matter of fact, I've had many readers. There's been thousands and thousands of readers that have read Savvy Wisdom and sent me a message to say that they love the stories of how Sophie, who's the main character, Sophie and Savvy, how Sophie transformed her own life and how they learned from the experience and how they implement it. So could you actually study a fiction book? This book you could, absolutely. Now here's a couple of tools that I'm going to suggest that you have when you're doing your study. One is called a highlighter and the other one is a pen. And now if you're more of an electronic person, then maybe you don't need a highlighter or a pen, but I absolutely much prefer and highly suggest that you use a highlighter and a pen when you're studying, so that when you're reading, when you're in your study time and you're reading something and there's a particular statement or a message or a suggestion that really stands out for you, what I suggest you do is highlight it. Now, you may even put an asterisk beside it or dog-ear the page so that you can refer to it later and then write some comments in there as well. So this is what you do when you're studying. You have a highlighter and a pen and you're making notes inside your book. Now, some people are a little funny about that because they feel like they're ruining the book. But you know what? You're not ruining it. You're effectively using the book as a study guide. And then you can refer to it, because when you read a book for a second time, you're going to discover something that you may not have noticed the first time, not because it wasn't there, but because your awareness has changed. Your awareness has modified. So therefore, you're going to read it differently. In Club Achieve right now, we're studying from a book called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. Now, I bought that book back in 1979 or 1980. It's actually falling apart, the version that I have. I actually have a few different versions of the book, but the version that I have, the one that I originally studied, is falling apart. Why is it falling apart? It's falling apart because I study it, because I'm continually reading it and going back to it and referring to it. So this is the study part, and that's the understanding part, where you really start to understand something. Now, you don't have to read a lot every day. You could read a page every day and then read it over and over again until you reach that depth of understanding. But how much and how often you study really is up to you. But I suggest study every day, get into Club Achieve, study with us, and also study for a minimum an hour a day. Then the other thing that I suggest is I have a journal here. This is one of my journals that I write in, and I tend to fill up journals on a regular basis, and I carry it with me wherever I go. And so here's what I do. As I'm studying and I'm reading these materials, when something really pops in my consciousness of how I can activate or actually implement what I'm reading and what I'm studying, I'll make a note of it. I'll write it in my agenda. I'll write it in my journal. And from time to time, what I'll also do is when I'm studying, if I'm studying something, and let's say there's a particular statement that really comes off the page, something that I really resonate with, then I may decide that I want to blend that into my own power life script. And maybe it's a statement that's like an affirmation, like expectancy speeds up manifestation. And because of that, you could declare, I live in the joyous expectancy of the best. I expect my results. And if that's something that you find really fuels you and it causes you to feel really good and inspired, then write into your power life script. And as you're studying, when you're effectively studying and you're studying to expand your awareness and to understand, when you get inspired with ideas, which you likely will when you're open-minded, and absolutely when you have goals that you set for yourself, when you get inspired with an action item, something to do, Go into your agenda, whether it's electronic or whether it's a physical agenda, and write it down. Write it down. Write down that idea and act on it. It's really important that you act on it. So, as I said at the beginning of this call, if you want to look at people that have achieved extraordinary results in their life, these are individuals that study, and they study on a regular basis. And they wouldn't even think of not studying on a regular basis. I wouldn't even think of not studying on a regular basis. Before we started our call today, there was a couple comments that were made in the chat box about the way that successful people study. And there was a comment from Themby that said, the question that I ask myself every morning is, how did Bob Proctor study? And she also said, what do these coaches mean when they talk about study? Well, this is what we mean when we're talking about study. And how Bob Proctor studied is Bob Proctor studied a number of different master teachers. So his mentors, and he said this on a number of occasions, were not only mentors that he had met and that had guided him during his lifetime, but they were mentors in the form of a book, as an example, or an audio program. So Bob would dedicate time every single day to study. And very similar to me, he would study for hours and hours and hours every single day. And he studied from Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. And he said there were some days that he would just read a paragraph, and he would read that paragraph over and over again. Why would he read a paragraph over and over again? He would do that because his intention was to understand it better and to really, really have it sink into his consciousness. It's through repetition that we change our paradigms, right? And he didn't only study Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich. He also studied Earl Nightingale in the very early years of his entrance into the personal development industry. And he studied The Strangest Secret. But one of his favorite master teachers of all times was a gentleman by the name of Thomas Troward. And he would study Thomas Troward's material. He also would study his own book, and he would study his own book, You Were Born Rich, in his master class. And he also studied people like Neville Goddard. Now, if you ever went to Bob Proctor's home, you would have seen in his library, he had floor to ceiling almost shelves of books and many, many, many books. And I don't think he read them all, but he read many, many of the books that were there, because a lot of authors that I worked with would send him his books as well. And I met a lot of authors through Bob Proctor. So he not only had books on his shelves that he had studied and studied regularly, but he had books on there from clients as well. And so he was a very avid reader. And prior to his first initial introduction into personal development, which occurred at the age of 26, he had never read a book before. He may have read a book in school if he was mandated to do so, but he was never attracted to studying or reading. So when he was 26 years of age, he was given a copy of Think and Grow Rich. And that's when everything really shifted for him. And that's why, when we're thinking about what could we cover off today before we get to the open Q&A part of our call that would be valuable for you, because that's what we're here to do, is to serve you and bring you great value. And we decided that this topic of how to effectively study was so incredibly valuable. Like, I really believe that we have a number of different programs at Dynamic Destinies. We have our brand new program that we're just launching. It's called MSI Author, MSI Entrepreneur. It's starting on July 21st. It's going to be a 100-day program spread out over several weeks, and it's going to be live classes. We have skipping levels, which is for those that want to have a quantum leap in their results. We train coaches. We certify them as a destiny coach. We have master or manifest your dream home, the money marathon, and we have Power Life Script, and we have Club Achieve. And I absolutely believe with every part of my being that Club Achieve is one of the most valuable programs that we have. They're all valuable, exceedingly valuable. And it's because of this reason that we're talking about here, because daily study and understanding and application can transform your life. All right. So it's the study, the understanding, and the application. It's not only the study that's going to transform your life. It'll help for sure. It'll help increase your awareness. But what will happen is you'll become competent and very aware, and you're conscious. You become conscious, but are you actually activating? You see, you've got to be moving into action. You must be taking action. It's really important that you're not only studying to get to the understanding, but you're also applying what you're learning at the same time. Hence the reason why I even gave birth to Club Achieve, is so that I could help people do just that. So when we're doing our Club Achieve calls every day, and some of you that are on here right now might even be members of Club Achieve, what you'll discover is that what we do is we're studying particular books, certain books on success as we're going through it. You can start at any time, but I also explain things. I'll give a greater explanation, and then I'll suggest how to apply these ideas into one's life as well. So that's why it's a little bit unique. So to study for you, study with the understanding that you're going to get an understanding. And if you don't, keep studying. One is the study, two is the understanding, and three, apply. All right. And that's one of the things that you'll discover when you read Savvy Wisdom 1 and Savvy Wisdom 2, is because it's designed, these books are designed in a way that you'll see the transformation and read the transformation of this girl named Sophie, who's based on my life. What you'll discover is what she actually did. Okay. And with Savvy being her mentor, she would ask him for explanations. What do you mean by that? Help me understand that. And then she would go into application as well. So read those two books, Savvy Wisdom 1 and Savvy Wisdom 2, as you're going to discover that they can definitely contribute in a beneficial way to your life. Okay, so we have some questions that I see are coming in right now. And I'm going to go to those questions right now. So anyone that's on live with us at this moment, if you have a question, sorry, I'm just checking one of my other screens here, and you would like me to answer it, then please type in your question right now. We still have about 9 minutes here for our 30-minute information session. And so if there are more questions, I'd be more than happy to address them for you right now. Okay. All right. Here's a wonderful question. I'm so glad that this question was asked. It's Themby, and the question is, I'm studying Science of Getting Rich, but how do I get it to change me? I just listen to the audio almost daily. Well, Themby, you should be in the Club Achieve, because that's the book we're studying right now. And the first thing that I want to mention, and this is it could be just the way the question was formulated, but let me just point this out, okay? Because it is valuable to understand this too. The question was, how do I get it to change me? Number one, it will never change you. It will never change you. You change you. And it's like this statement that you are your only challenge, but you're also your only solution. It's like, if you're having a challenge in your life, go look in the mirror, because that's the person that can help you. And if you're getting great results in your life, go look in the mirror, because that's a person that you can thank. All right. And so the way that you experience the positive change is really what I was talking about earlier. And I believe your question was asked before I started teaching this particular lesson. And that is, you have to understand it and apply it. Because if you're not applying, and that's what we do in Club Achieve, is we don't just study the books. I talk about how to apply it, what you do with this information. How do you act in a certain way? How do you think in a certain way? You know, what are some things and some ideas of how you can implement it? So when you're hearing the audios, and in this particular case, you're listening to audios, when you're hearing the audios and you're hearing the understanding of certain things, like how to act in a certain way, and you have goals that you set for yourself, you're going to get inspired with ideas. You'll get inspired with something that you can be doing at that time that can, create a greater sense of alignment with what it is that you desire. You see, the truth is, and as you've heard, you've been listening to the Science of Getting Rich, is that you manifest in the now, right now. You don't manifest in the, oh God, please send it to me in the future, or I really, want to have that. Because when you're in energy of want or you're staring at the future, or you're looking at the past. You're not in the now. You're not in the present tense. How you manifest is by being in the experience right now. And that involves, number one, deciding what it is that you would love to have, do, be, or experience. So that's a goal. You set your outcome. And then from there, you determine, what does that feel like now that that's in my life? And a great example of that is, seeing Savvy Wisdom completed as a book, as an example, as a fiction book, and writing it in the way that I wrote this book. This was something I had not done before. It was my 19th book. And of course, I teach authors how to write fiction and nonfiction. And so what I did was, when I made the decision that I was going to do this, I immediately, in my mind, in my consciousness, I went to the result. What is it that I would love for this as a result? Number one, making a positive impact in the lives of hundreds of millions of people. And that's what I see. I see it as the movie that it is being made into as well. The books are being made into a movie. The screenplay's, I think it's almost done, if it's not already written. And I see in my consciousness the responses from the readers and the comments and the sharing of how it positively changed their life. And so even before the book was completed, in my consciousness, I was already there. And that's one of the things that is taught in the science of getting rich, is that you must act in a certain way. And the acting in a certain way, as suggested by Wallace D. Wattles, is exactly what I'm talking about. It's feeling in the now, knowing that what you desire is already here. That's an action item, right? That's how you apply it. Now, you don't just apply it once in a while. You apply it every single day in everything that you're doing. You could be, walking down the street. You could be doing your dishes. You could be doing your grocery shopping. You could be doing your laundry. You could be having a shower. Whatever you're doing in your consciousness, you can be applying these materials by genuinely connecting the emotional side of knowing it is already done, not being worried or concerned or fearful or whatever, only energetically connecting to the outcome every day. You see, a lot of people hear that and they may even know that, but are they doing it? Are you actually doing it? And are you doing it on a consistent basis? Because when you're, all day long, you're giving out energy, right? You're an energetic being and you're working with the law of vibration, which means whatever you're feeling, you're attracting back into your life. And the law of attraction is a subsidiary law of the law of vibration. So you're attracting based on how you're feeling. And if you're feeling worried, if you're feeling doubtful, if you're feeling scared, if you're feeling disillusioned, you're out of alignment. And when we use an example of money, right? Wealth and seeing yourself with wealth. And I suspect there's a number of you that would love to experience more wealth in your life, right? I mean, who wouldn't? And so how does it feel now that you have that in your life? And are you feeling that on a regular basis? So even when the bill comes in, you don't feel all uptight and anxious. You stay in the consciousness of being wealthy. Right? So that's part of the application process. So this is not a once in a while thing. This isn't just a part-time thing. This is an all day long thing, meaning you're manifesting all day long. So you want to condition yourself. You want to become so programmed positively to only create the results that you want. Okay. And that only happens from daily study and daily practice. Thank you so much for asking that question. That was a fabulous question. All right, a bunch more questions have come in. Nancy says, how would you apply, I am now filled with the expectancy of the best, other than to say it and feel it? Is there another way to apply it? That's a great question. Thank you, Nancy, for asking. Yes, absolutely. You're right. You must feel it. Like saying it is one thing because you're giving it energy, but you could be saying the phone book and that's not going to have any impact on you. So yes, you absolutely have to connect the emotion. But here's what happens. When you are truly living in the joyous expectancy of the best, when you are in harmonial alignment with your good, meaning this is the goal that you set for yourself and this is how you're feeling, and you're feeling it's here, it's now, it's done. You're going to get inspired with ideas. They're going to come to you. They may come to you in the middle of the night. They may come to you in the next 5 minutes. They may come to you tomorrow. They may come to you next week. You have to trust and expect, because what you're really doing is you're believing in something you cannot see, right? You may even think is impossible, but while you're conditioning your consciousness with knowing it's already done, you're building the muscle of faith so that it's so strong, nothing is going to stop you. Absolutely nothing. And when you're in that vibratory rate, when you're really feeling that, you're going to get the ideas and then you're going to apply. So one of the things, like in Manifest Your Dream Home as an example, you decide, what would you love to manifest? You claim it as if it's already yours. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm living in my dream home. I love every inch of it. It's paid for in full. It's beautiful. It's classy. And you describe it. And then in your mind, in your consciousness, you're living there, right? And you're feeling the joy of having that in your life, and you're genuinely feeling that. Well, if you're in the market to purchase a home, what would you be doing? Right? How would you apply that? Well, you go online and you look for the for sale. Like, so many things are available online. Like here where I live, we just go to the realtor site. Same thing in the United States, realtor.com or Zillow or whatever. There's sites all over the world where you can find what's the real estate and what's for sale. So if you are someone that has a goal for that, one of the action items that you would be taking is looking, right? Looking for the home. Maybe even booking appointments and going to see it. That's how you apply it, right? You want to act as if you already have that which you desire. You want to make decisions as the person that already has what you desire. All right. Very, very important. Okay. Our next question is from Steve. I think I need to ask this question for others. How do you explain starting small in a circumstance where the person in question is feeling really hopeless at the time? Steve, can you explain a little bit more what that question is? Starting small in a circumstance where the person in question is feeling really hopeless at the time. Okay, I'm going to answer it to the best of my understanding of what that question is. So hopeless is a very destructive state. It's a destructive state. It's not going to produce anything other than more of the same. You cannot live in a hopeless state and expect to produce positive results. It's just not going to happen. And it's kind of like when people get worried or concerned about something and they're giving that energy and they just create more of the same. A great example of that is debt, right? Someone who's all consumed in debt. And of course, debt does nothing to you. Okay. I want you to understand that. Debt has no control, none, over your emotions unless you give it the power. All right. Understand that. When you get an envelope in the mail and it's your Visa statement and it has got a balance on there that you haven't felt comfortable with, understand there's no emotion that comes in that envelope. You choose how you're going to feel. All right. This is so important. I'm not being disrespectful. This is really important. If you want to experience more abundance, I'm not saying this is what Steve's question is, but I'm using this as an example. When you want to experience more abundance in your life, you have to be thinking abundantly. You have to be thinking prosperously. You have to create that wealth consciousness in your own mind. That is precisely what I did. Exactly what I did to turn my own life around. So, as Neville Goddard teaches, you deny the evidence of the senses, which means you don't ignore your obligations. You don't ignore your financial responsibilities. You just don't energetically get all consumed in negative energy, like the swirling, dirt of the Tasmanian devil, as an example. Like you just don't go there. You don't swirl or connect to the negative energy. So when you've decided that you want to have something, you've got to declare it as already done. So one, you got to have some goals that really do excite you. Maybe scare you a little bit at the same time, but definitely get some goals. You won't know how to accomplish them, but that's okay. You do not have to know how you're going to accomplish the goals. You don't. You have to decide what you would love, and you have to get in harmony with it, feeling as if it's already here. And when there's a state called hopelessness, it's at the opposite end of a certainty, right? A knowing, a confidence. And it's going to take some time to build that emotional muscle as well, or rise it up the scale to a place where it's positive. Now, if there's a dimmer switch on the wall in this room, and there's actually 3 of them over there on the other side of the room, and right now I have all the lights illuminated. And if you think about your emotions being on a switch, I wrote an entire book about this called Your Destiny Switch. And at the top end of the human emotion of hopeless is confident, right? A sense of knowing. And so if the emotion is at the bottom, hopeless, it's dark in the room. You can't even see straight, right? There's darkness all around. And that's what happens with people. It's like they wake up in the morning and they're all consumed in their hopelessness. They just want to pull the covers over their head. But yet, if you or when you connect to what you would love and you connect in a way that you feel it, oh, I'm so happy and grateful now that, and you genuinely feel it, you are raising up your vibrational level. Now you have to stay there. It's not enough to just raise it up for a moment. Stay there is really what's important. So what do? Well, you create disciplines that you're going to be involved in on a regular basis that are going to cause you, the moment you notice your energy shifted and it's gone to a lower point, that you shift yourself up to a higher level. You can do that with a very simple question, saying, what would I love? And then answering it, and then going straight to the feeling of knowing it's already done. You could listen to your Power Life script, assuming you have one. And if you don't get one, go to powerlifescript.com. You listen to your Power Life script, and provided you've recorded it the way that I recommend that you do, with lots of enthusiasm, only positive words, creating the images of what you desire, that will also invite you to raise your level of emotions. And so moving from any lower level of emotion, it starts with desire. We can't do this for anyone else. They have to want to do it for themselves, right? It's like that expression, you can lead a horse to water, you cannot make them drink. And so in the case of others and the state that they're in, they have to decide, make a decision that they're going to make a positive change in their life. And the positive change must be an emotional change, must be an internal change. And once they make that change, then they can begin to experience better results. Okay, we have one more question. We're going to call it a wrap for today. Okay, the next question is from Fatima. Hi, Peggy. I feel lost. I keep thinking, what is my passion now? And I don't get any clue. How can I be me again? All right. So number one, just think of, if I knew what my passion was, how would I feel? I want you to think about that for a moment. If you knew what your passion was, how would you feel? You'd feel great, right? You'd feel relaxed. You'd feel joyful, perhaps. Now, I don't want to put words in your mouth because that's not sanitary, but I'm, to give you an idea. So when you know what you're absolutely passionate about, you're lit up. Like, as you very likely know, anyone that's watching this right now, I'm very passionate about what we're talking about here. And I know I'm passionate because I'll do it all day long and all night long. And I never get tired. If anything, it invigorates me. I always feel great whenever I'm working with clients or teaching a class or doing Q&A calls or private mentoring or whatever I'm doing, live events. It always feels great. And I love it. I love it. I love it. Love it, because I know it helps others. And every time I'm helping another, it does help me as well. And so it's a passion. I wouldn't have written 20 books if this wasn't a passion as well. I wouldn't have created all the programs that I have if it wasn't a passion. You know it's a passion by how you feel. So when you say you don't know what your passion is, the thing to do is imagine that you do know what your passion is and give thanks for it genuinely. Even though you're saying, well, okay, I understand what you're saying, but I don't know what it is. Stop saying you don't know what it is. Stop saying that. Stop giving energy to you don't know what it is, and relax in the knowing and celebrate that you do know what your passion is and that it feels good and it feels wonderful. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to get it. It's going to absolutely come to you, and you're going to realize, like, wow, I was in my own way. And that's the truth. So many people are in their own way of their manifestations, and they don't even realize it. It's not a negative or an insult. It's not that at all. It's an awareness thing. It's so valuable to have the awareness when you notice when you're in your own way. I'm in my own way sometimes. Everyone on our team is in their own way from time to time. Everyone gets in their own way. Now, some people are in their own way all day long, but they don't even realize it. They don't recognize that if they want their life to change, as I wrote in Savvy Wisdom at the end of chapter 1, when Sophie met Savvy for the first time and he handed her this handkerchief, and embroidered on the handkerchief was a quote that said, "If you want your life to change, you must change." And so, on that note, I believe we're going to wrap up our event today with that. And my desire for you is better results. I would love for you to be manifesting your every desire. So we're here to serve you. Take a look at what we have to offer at peggymccall.com. And if you see our programs and you're curious which one would be the best fit for you, then book a call. You can go to that section on the front of peggymccall.com where it says Discover Now, answer a few questions, book an appointment, and we'll get on one of my team will get on a call with you, and they would be delighted to help you determine which is the best program for you. And I want to thank Jen for being here with me. Roddy is in Cyprus on holiday right now. He'll be back with us next Wednesday, I believe, or he'll be back with us next week. And I want to thank you, Jen, for jumping in and grabbing all the questions on the social media channels. And I wish everyone a wonderful day. Make sure you join us in Club Achieve as well. We'd love to have you there. All right. See you soon. Bye-bye for now.